All right, give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me and see me now. Is that any better? We got you now. Mic check, good. 1, 2, 3. We ready to rock and roll? I think we're live now. All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's so good to see you guys. Give me a thumbs up. You guys can see me, hear me now. I just got off a little Zoom I was on with the Make America Healthy Again guys, and I was watching the Children's Health Defense as well. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see me and hear me now. Good? Perfect. Awesome. So we're gonna go through and we're gonna do an ask me anything. If you guys have questions, make sure you hit them up in the chat. I've got a ton of questions from you guys. But before we do that, I wanted to let you guys know that I was just listening to the former director of the CDC, Robert Redfield. You guys remember him? You guys remember Dr. Redfield? Dr. Redfield actually came out just now and was saying that the vast majority of patients that he's seeing in his practices right now, because he's in private practice now. This is the guy who was the head of the CDC, Dr. Robert Redfield, just said on a recorded a webinar that the vast majority of patients that he's seeing in his private practice now are vaccine injured patients from the COVID jab. I think that's pretty wild. First of all, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. You guys, it's Dr. Eric Naputi here. Hope you're having a blessed day. I'm excited to be here doing the Ask Me Anything. So if you guys have any questions, put them in the chat wherever you guys are watching from. We will look on that. Good morning, JPags, Vicky, good morning. Sheila, good morning. Tim, good morning. And let me know where in the world you guys are watching from. We know we have people all over the globe that tune into us. So let's get into some of these questions because I have a lot of them. So the first one I want to get into, and by the way, if you guys have questions, put them in the chats below or go to our website. You go to biolimitless.com. That's biolimitless.com. And if you go up to the top, it'll have a little tab that says ask, and you can go in there and type in your questions, and we'll either answer those in a video form and we'll put them out on social media. So make sure you guys are following us on all of our social media platforms, or we'll do these live Ask Me Anythings as well. So good morning, guys. Hey, Ann, good morning from cold Minnesota. She says Sheila is also in southern Minnesota. We got Tanya. Good morning. I'll help you with all those questions you've got. All right, let me answer this one first. This is a really great question. This is from Maui. And Maui says, my son is 16 now, was diagnosed with autism at 2.5 years old. He met all the milestones his first year of life, but after his 1 year injections, he regressed within a month. He lost eye contact, stopped eating solid foods, cried constantly at the age of 3. We saw a pediatric neurologist, prescribed him a couple medications because he was harming himself, putting him on some other medications for anxiety. He's been through, he's been through both all this for the last 14 years. Lots of medications. His eyes contact is bad. He can't eat solid foods He is no longer harming himself, which is good. He mostly drinks water, occasionally milk. So bottom line is this young man has been diagnosed with autism, and the mother wants to know what can she do to get some help. So first of all, Maui, let me just say this. God bless you. And as a strong mother, and by the way, his calmer behavior and food progressions and everything, let's talk through this. So, but first of all, bless you for reaching out and trying to get some solutions. So write this down, Maui. I'm going to give you some suggestions of some things. First and foremost, let me show you guys all something. This is a process that we go through in our functional medicine practices. And these are what we call the 7 directives of BioLimitless. So Maui, this applies for you. So no matter what's going on in your world, whether your thyroid's bad, you're diagnosed with autism, you've got high blood pressure, you got cholesterol issues, whatever it is that you're dealing with, it's all about finding the root of the problem. Okay. And so there's 7 pathways that we go through, 7 directives. The first we talk about is reveal the problem. So testing, not guessing. And Maui, I'm going to tell you with your son, one of the main things that I would be doing is I would be getting a genetic profile on him to see if he's got methylation issues. And I'll just tell you that most kiddos that have this type of regression, listen, my 22 years of practice has shown this to me, that most of these kids that have these types of regressive type issues, they have MTHFR, MTRR, COMT, some type of methylation gene pathway problem. If that's the case, then we need to make some changes accordingly. There's some other tests that I would do as well, Maui. So I'd get some basic labs on him, a comprehensive metabolic test. I do a CMP, a CBC as well. We need to know what his ferritin levels are. Ferritin and B12 are really important in cases like this. We see a lot of kids that have these neurological regressions that have problems methylating their B vitamins, B9 and B12 primarily. And so running those tests would be important to know. Also, getting a vitamin D test on him. There's a receptor in the body called the VDR receptor. And if that receptor is genetically turned off, if you will, if it's not coding like it's supposed to, then this can lead to a lot of those neuroemotional issues that your son was having. So let me just read this and I'll go through the process. So you got to test, not guess. We got to reset the body. This is such a powerful tool. No matter what you've got going on, if you need to change your hormones, if we need to lose weight, if we need to get rid of irritable bowel issues, headaches, migraines, whatever your symptoms are, it's all about testing, not guessing. Number one. Number two, it's all about resetting the mitochondria. Number three, it's all about removing the toxins. I'll talk about that with you in a moment, Maui. We got to recharge your son's cells, rebuilding the gut microbiome, rebooting the nervous system, and then refueling the body. So, Maui, here's what I would do. So, first of all, test, not guess. Go get a genetic profile for your son. We need to find out if he's methylating properly or not. And if he is not methylating properly, and I bet you he's not, if he's positive for any of the methylation SNPs like MTHFR, MTRR, COMT, MTR, any of those things, then we need to put him on a methylated B vitamin. He needs to be on a methylated formula. In fact, this is the reason why we made the cell signal formula. Okay. So if individuals have methylation problems, they cannot take their B vitamins and convert them into usable chemistry to fix the neurons in the body. And so you guys are hearing these conversations about leucovorin and Deplin and all these things that are out right now. These are methylated B vitamins. And we're seeing some amazing changes for autistic children and adults by utilizing those. So number one, we need to look at that. Okay. So get that genetic profile. And if that genetic profile also shows methylation is there, then Maui, we got to make sure that we're abiding by that food plan for him. So he's got to be completely gluten-free and completely dairy-free. If you have MTHFR or methylation issues, just cut out the gluten, cut out the dairy, and try to get foods that have glyphosate completely out of his system. Those are going to be neuroinflammatory triggers, and any bit of neuroinflammation is going to cause regression or continuation of those neurological problems. So that's number one. Then also get some blood testing done. Here's what I would do. Write this down. Get a comprehensive metabolic test done. Get a CBC done. Okay, that's just a complete blood test. Get a ferritin test. It's very important, and this is a big one. I find with a lot of kids that have neurological regression, their body does not recycle and process iron very well, and that's a really big deal. And that can lead to all kinds of neurological complications. So if the ferritin levels are below a 100, and this is true for all of you, if your ferritin levels are below a 100 on your blood test, that's going to affect everything negatively. Your thyroid, your adrenals, your hormone, all the rest of your sexual hormones. I mean, your energy is going to get up and just leave you, and your brain is going to be foggy. We find that a lot of times with kids that have regression like this. So one of the best things you can do is put them on beef liver extract. It's a supplement you can get. It's very inexpensive, and that could be a game changer for your son. And then also check his vitamin D levels. Vitamin D on a blood test. The medical ranges are, if it's above a 30, you're okay. But the reality is that 30 and below can still lead to cancer, heart disease, autoimmune issues, depression, anxiety, etc. So we want that vitamin D level to be an 80 to a 100 nanograms per milliliter on the blood test. Okay. If it's not at that range, then put him on either 5,000 IUs a day, 10,000 IUs a day, or 20,000 IUs a day until that level raises, and you should recheck those levels every 90 days. And a vitamin D test by itself is like $20. It shouldn't be expensive to do that. But that's a big deal because if that vitamin D is low, then vitamin D is not even a vitamin, it's a prohormone. That's going to mess up all kinds of immune pathways. And vitamin D, when the immune system is hyperactive, vitamin D is one of the things that goes in and turns down a overactive immune response. And if you're deficient in vitamin D, you can't do that. And most kids who have regression, Maui, like your son did, are going to have overexcitation of the nervous system. And vitamin D3, that's what you should be using. Vitamin D3, that's what you should be using to help him with that. Also, look at his magnesium levels on his blood test. We find that a lot of kids that have neurological regression, autism spectrum disorder, etc., are running through magnesium super duper fast. And magnesium is essential for the serotonin pathways. That's the chill out like aspect of the brain. Magnesium is also responsible for like 300 different enzymatic functions in the body. So most people are magnesium deficient, but the more stress our body's under, the more we run through that magnesium. And listen, there's all kinds of magnesium out there. I start all of my patients out on magnesium glycinate. And let me tell you why. First of all, I put them on magnesium glycinate. It's inexpensive and it's effective in like 80+% of the people. There is a small percentage of folks in some cases that have like a slow COMT gene imbalance where magnesium can upset them, glycinate. So we need to try another form of magnesium for them, but start with magnesium glycinate. And here's how you calculate the dose. So somebody write this down, or you guys all remember that. In order to figure out how to diagnose or prescribe your milligrams of magnesium, take your body weight times 10.6. So body weight times 10.6, divide that by 2.5. That's how many milligrams a day you should be supplementing with magnesium. So those are really, really big ones. And then Maui, make sure that you check your son's thyroid function as well, because a lot of times if there's problems with TSH converting and making T4 and converting to make T3, that's a problem as well. So a lot of times getting the thyroid under control usually requires getting the gut under control, but knowing that is important. And if you want to get those labs and direct message me with that, Maui, I'll try to help you work through this. But what else I would do is I would check your son's gut microbiome. And there are several ways to do this. Okay. Number one, you can do a stool sample. And there are lots of organizations out there that you can do stool samples from home. And it gives you an idea of your bacteria, the good, the bad, the ugly. You want to have a balance in your bacteria. And there are certain bacteria that if they're overgrown in the body are going to lead to neurodegenerative issues in the brain. And there are certain bacteria that we're supposed to have that if we don't have in our body, then that can also lead to chronic neuroinflammation. I mean, there's bacteria like certain strains of lactobacillus and certain strains of bifidobacteria that we find consistently low across the board in individuals that have autism spectrum issues. And so we know that if we can get those levels back up, we can reconnect the body and reconnect the brain. So go check that. That's a big one. Or you can also do a Candida spit test. So how do you do that? Okay, so this is a really good way to see if you have leaky gut. This is probably the easiest at-home test you could do. So Maui, remember this. First thing in the morning before you feed your son anything, before he brushes his teeth, before he drinks anything, just get a glass of water, just like a regular glass. It has to be clear glass that you can see through. Fill it up to the top with water and have him spit saliva in it, okay? And let that sit on your counter for like 15 minutes. What should happen is that spit should stay floating at the top of the screen. If there's excess bacteria, candidosis, overgrowth of microbes, any leaky gut, that spit is going to sink to the bottom, or it'll streak down to the bottom of the glass. That's an indication that your bacteria is off in your ecosystem, and you should start on a proper probiotic. That's why we made a formula called the Master Microbiotic Formula. We took all of the bacteria that are normally in the blue zones of the world, and we put it into a delivery package, into a capsule. And that's what that Master Microbiotic Formula does. It gets the body what it needs. And I'll just tell you this, God bless him, Dr. Andy Wakefield, who I know very well, and who, by the way, is a damn genuine guy. When I think 20 years ago in the UK, when he said, hey, I'm a GI surgeon for pediatric cases, and I'm certainly seeing an awful lot of abnormal gut bacteria and inflammation in the bowels on these kids who are autistic. And it's because of exactly this, right? You got to have the gut bacteria right so that you can make the neurotransmitters. That's the chemical electrical connections to the brain and to the body. So those are the big things I would do. And then a couple of things, Maui, is I would also do a food elimination program. No gluten, no dairy, no glyphosates. Cut out ultra processed foods. Put him on a real clean diet. Make sure he's getting a plant-based multi-enzyme with each meal. That's a big one. That's a super big one. And if you don't get that under control, it's never going to help like it's supposed to. Also, look and see. I really like to get mold and mycotoxin test on these kids. You can do a urinalysis test or even a blood test to see if there's any mold mycotoxins. And if those are there, we have an entire program that we teach people how to get rid of, the mold and et cetera in the body. And then from a food standpoint, make sure that he's loading up on a ketogenic diet. So listen, I like protein. Most people are massively protein deficient, but we need a little bit more good fat in situations like this. So he needs a lot of good protein, but a little bit even more good fat. And we have some resources on our BioLimitless site on ketosis and being in a ketogenic diet. By the way, the cool thing about that cell signal formula is we've literally formulated this for patients exactly like your son, Maui. It has all the methylated compounds in here. It also has glycine and phosphatidylserine to help the body not over methylate, which is what a lot of people do. And then we also put BHB in here. BHB helps the body shift its fuel source from sugar burning to fat burning. And that's what you have to have, because when you burn fat, your body produces ketones. Ketones help your immune system turn into, remember the little Pac-Mans in your immune system? They come and they chew up all the bad debris, all the inflammation and all those problems. So Maui, I really hope this helps you. And last but not least, please make sure that you're detoxifying your son regularly. Putting him in a ketogenic food plan is like the best thing to start with that. You can't really do true detoxification if you are not in ketosis. Okay. We use a formula. All my autism spectrum kids, all my kids in my practices and adults use the Detox Pro Plus. It pulls out heavy metals, microplastics, glyphosates, all that stuff in the body. And it's also got a lot of Shilajit in it. And the Shilajit has a tremendous amount of minerals. So it backfills when we pull out heavy metals. There's a hole there in the membrane. It's got to backfill with something. And those minerals really are a game changer. But if you're not in ketosis, it's harder to detoxify. So give me a thumbs up. Hope, Maui, that you understood that and that makes sense for you. So great question, guys. Remember, we're doing Q&A. Ask me anything you want. So hit it in the chat up here. Let me know where you guys are watching from as well. I'd love to see where you guys are at. So let's see here. I've got, let me answer Darlene's question. I'm going to answer them live. If you guys don't want me to answer them live, just say, hey, this is private. Okay. Darlene, sorry. Darlene says, hey, good morning, doc, from Arizona. I had knee replacement surgery 4 weeks ago. God bless you. I was taking the Detox Pro Plus Master Microbiotics for 3 months prior to surgery. I stopped 2 weeks before. Don't stop taking your products, young lady. I wouldn't. Listen, 24 to 48 hours before you go under the knife, that's when you can back off, really probably closer to 12, because you can't have a lot of stuff in your system. But anyway, yes, you can go back on them. Yes, you can go back on them. You need to. So when I have a lot of patients in my practices that come see me for physical medicine, Darlene, and what we do is we help those guys get their body as healthy as they can before they go under the knife as well. Because we want to reduce as much inflammation as possible. And then we want to prepare the body with the right nutrients to help yourself. So let me see what else you got going on here. You're saying, okay, so let's see. I took oxycodone for pain, 5 milligrams, Tylenol most days if needed. I keep hearing certain supplements can affect the implant. Thanks, doc. What are your thoughts? First of all, here's what I'm going to tell you. Anytime you have an injury in the body or post-surgery, protein, 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 and protein is your best friend. You need to load up on protein to heal your body faster. Protein has all of the amino acids in it that your body needs for healing. Darlene, it would not be a bad idea for you to get on a multi-amino type of a formula as well, at least for the next couple weeks. The more amino acids, the more protein you get in your body, the faster your tissues are going to respond and heal. So that's number one. And what would I shoot for? A minimum of 120 grams a day for you, probably closer to 150, 160. I tell the women that I work with, well, and the men too, but the women I work with post surgery, you better load up like it's nobody's business on protein until this knee or muscle or whatever it is healed. So that's number one. Number two, magnesium. Okay, you need to be loading up on magnesium glycinate, and we talked about the daily dose for that. Take your body weight, okay, times 10.5 and divide it by 2.6. That is the best formula for you. Most women post surgery are taking between 1,000 and 1,500 milligrams of magnesium post surgery for at least the next 6 weeks. That'll help heal the body, speed up healing. Darlene, I would also have you get on a very strong, high dose omega-3 fish oil. Man, omega-3 fish oils are so good for healing the body. At least 3 to 4 grams a day of omega-3 fatty acids can really help a ton. And if you're having pain, omega-3 fatty acids, high doses, and then you add turmeric. So like 1,000 milligrams of turmeric with between 3 and 4 grams of omega-3 fish oils. That's one of the strongest natural anti-inflammatory pain relievers that you can get on. That's a powerful, powerful tool. As far as certain supplements negatively affecting the implant, a lot of times people will say, well, hey, don't use like detoxifying agents or chelators because it's going to pull heavy metals out of your body. That is not the case at all when it comes to the new, metals that are being used right now, titanium alloys and all that. That's not an issue. So we always use the Detox Pro Plus for my patients, especially after surgery, because you went under the knife, you had anesthesia in your body. We got to help pull out those heavy metals and those other adjuvants and toxins that are in a lot of the anesthesia that you had. And also not just doing the detox, but breathing. Lots of just deep breathing exercises will pull that out of your system. So Darlene, hopefully that helps answer your question there. You guys remember, we're doing Ask Me Anything with Dr. Eric Naputi. It's so good to be with you guys. Let me know where you're watching from, by the way, what part of the world you're in. And let's answer another question. I'm going to answer one. Type your questions in the chat and I'll keep going to them. Here's another question I just got here. This is a question from Ryan. Ryan says, hey, Dr. Eric, you talk a lot about fasting, but is there such a thing as too much fasting, especially for people with adrenal fatigue? Okay, well, great question. So Ryan, first of all, let's talk about what fasting is. Fasting is going for a prolonged period of time without consuming food, right? And so there's different types of fasting. What we recommend for everybody to start out with is intermittent fasting. And all that really is most people are trained to eat your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and maybe a snack or two between a couple meals. What we're saying is, all right, let's hold off on that breakfast. Let's hold off on that break fast. All right. Instead of having your breakfast at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 6 a.m., whenever you normally do, let's let that stretch out a little bit longer. Let's try to go as long as you can in the morning without having your breakfast. Well, why is that? It keeps your insulin from spiking. If we can control insulin and glucose levels, we can control hormones, we can control inflammation, we can manipulate muscles, we can do all kinds of things in the body. Controlling insulin is one of the most powerful tools that you have in your toolbox to really help heal yourself of all things. So intermittent fasting, what we typically recommend is at first trying to stretch it out as long as you can in the morning and trying to have maybe a later breakfast or skipping it and just having your noon meal and your dinner meal. And your noon meal and your dinner meal should be within a certain window. We typically recommend within about a 6-hour to 8-hour window to start. So you're fasting for 16 to 18 hours and you're feeding within 6 hours to 8 hours. That's how we recommend intermittent fasting. And that's good for all people. Okay. Now, if you have adrenal fatigue issues, normally you're not hungry for breakfast anyway. Breakfast sounds gross to you. Eating breakfast doesn't sound like a great thing at all. So what I'll tell you is most people have adrenal issues are going to struggle a little bit with fasting, but it's one of the quickest ways to help your body heal from adrenal fatigue. Okay. Now, once you get good at intermittent fasting, then I tell people every once in a while, let's do an OMAD. That's 1 meal a day. Okay. But make sure you're hitting your protein goals. All right. So you may only have 1 meal a day, but that 1 meal a day, you're eating as many of those macros as you can get, and it has to be nutrient dense foods. If you eat one meal a day and it's, crappy food or sugary food, you're gonna have a serious problem. It's gonna shut down your kidneys. It's gonna cause insulin spikes. It's gonna cause metabolic delays. It's gonna put you in a position that's gonna be long term a very serious problem. A very serious problem. Okay. Um, so OMAD, one meal a day every once in a while, is amazing to do. And then doing some prolonged fasting. Like typically what I try to do is once a week, I'll do a 24-hour fast. Okay. So one day a week, I typically just don't eat anything. I'll have my fluids, I'll have my supplements, I'll do all that stuff, and I'll do amazing. By the way, if you have trouble with intermittent fasting, that's because your body's used to burning sugar as fuel. Well, sugar is the fuel that's in your bloodstream now. Fat is the stored fuel. When you start intermittent fasting, you start tapping into that fat fuel burn. And that's when your body starts to shift into ketosis. And ketosis is amazing, you guys. Like that's our inborn DNA prescribed in our body's ecosystem. That's what we're supposed to be getting into so that we can heal our body. Like if you're not detoxing, if you're not healing, if you're not getting rid of inflammation, you're probably not getting into ketosis enough or long enough. And so it's not easy to stay in ketosis, especially when, we're not kids anymore. So what I recommend, that's why we use in the cell signal formula, it has BHB in it. BHB it's the OG exogenous ketone that really is like it's the kindling that really starts ignites the fuel and the fire in the body and biohacks the body into start burning fat. Because man, when you get into ketosis, you get a buzz from that. Like it's a feel good buzz. Like when I'm in ketosis, I can see better. I can see brighter and clearer. My brain is on point. My heart feels good. My energy is good. I feel strong. I feel certain. Like that's a powerful tool to get tapped into. So you guys should be tapping into that regularly. And then Ryan, listen, I also like prolonged fasting, man. Once you understand, and we have a lot of information on biolimits.com about fasting. Once you're good at doing an OMAD on a regular basis, that's one meal a day, man, then doing a 24, a 48, or even a 36-hour fast. And I've got some patients of mine that we do multiple days or even multiple weeks of fasting, but it's supervised fasting with them. That's a game changer. So you just got to read your body and be smart with it. I think it's one of the most powerful tools that you can possibly ever use. And again, I love using exogenous ketones and methylation pathways. This formula is freaking amazing for that. When I take it, my brain feels more on point. I'm not craving carbs, sugars, or any of that. I can feel my body burning fat, and I have MTHFR. So this opens up my methylation pathways and allows for my body to get reconnected. So Ryan, I hope that helps answer your question there as well. All right, you guys have any more questions? Make sure you guys put them in the chat so we can do it here. I've got okay. Vicky, I'm going to answer your question live. Vicky says, "Hey, Dr. Eric, good morning. First of all, first question is, what age do we need to start taking natural tablets to help protect our brain from loss of function?" Well, so here's what I'm going to tell you. Vicky, great question. Prevention doesn't start with pills. It starts with your fork and your knife, and it starts with moving your body. And I'm going to tell you, the best thing you can do to keep your brain healthy is keep your sugars and your insulin low. So a high protein, high fat diet, like a ketogenic diet where you're eating a lot of good, healthy fats, eggs, avocados, coconut oil, MCT oils, those healthy oils, and avoiding a lot of processed carbohydrates. Basically, you can eat as much good protein and good, healthy fat as really your little heart desires. And then you can have as many vegetables, raw or slightly cooked, as possible. When you take a carbohydrate and eat it, it should be crunchy or a little bit chewy. If you take a carrot or broccoli or cauliflower or whatever, and you make it so cooked that when you eat it, it's smushy, if it melts in your mouth, that's a bad carbohydrate to eat. And that goes for bread. It melts in your mouth. Sugar melts in your mouth. Juices, all those things. So it starts with your food. Okay. A ketogenic food plan is huge. Now, as far as what do I do for my brain health? So a lot of things. Prioritizing your sleep is a huge deal. Vicky, if you're not sleeping, your brain's not healing. Probably cortisol levels are going to be elevated, and that's going to poke little like Swiss cheese holes in your brain. And the best thing you can do to help with the cortisol is intermittent fasting, ketogenic diet, getting your body into ketosis. So using things like the cell signal formula. Now, here's one thing that I think is amazing. Let me show you this formula. This is what I use. Okay. Now, if you're asking me at what age should we start this, like starting to eat well should happen at like birth. We should be educating our kids this stuff, but I get it. We're humans. Okay. So the tabs and pills that you can take, if you will, Vicky, number one is your gut bacteria. The neurotransmitters that are made in your gut are the signals that go to your brain to make your brain function like it's supposed to. If you don't have good gut bacteria, which is why you should have some type of a healthy gut microbiome you're taking every day, we use our master microbiotics formula. I'll put it up against anything on the market. It's absolutely fantastic for your gut and for your brain. So that's one thing you should be doing. Controlling your sugars with intermittent fasting and a ketogenic diet is another thing you should be doing. There's a lot of things out there that are nootropics, right? Things like, mushrooms like lion's mane and other nootropics that are out there that stimulate the brain. Look, again, I put in the cell signal formula phosphatidylserine. We put glycine as well. These are good brain stimulator compounds and minerals and vitamins and etc. And then we always work with getting the methylation system to open up. That's a big thing. If your body's not methylating proper, if you have MTHFR, that's going to cause brain issues. So cleaning up the gut first and foremost. And then now here's what I do. This is what I do on a daily as well. Okay. So full transparency, I take 3 cell signal in the morning to get my body in ketosis and get my methylation pathways open and my detox pathways open and my metabolism going. And then I take one of my Neuro Reboot formula. So I use a peptide, Vicky. And in the Neuro Reboot, there's 3 peptides in this formula. One is BPC 157 and improves blood supply. And it reduces inflammation systemically, but especially in the brain. I want my brain to have as much blood supply as possible because too much caffeine, too much sugar, too much stress causes the blood vessels to compress and I don't get blood supply to my brain. BPC 157 can help with that. It also reduces inflammation throughout my entire body, and it also reduces inflammation in my brain. And neuroinflammation is a very serious problem. And it also has a peptide in it called dihexa. Dihexa helps the brain rewire and refire. It literally helps the neurons start to re-signal in the brain. And Vicky, we measure brain activity in our class, in our practices, and we find these brains improve with their wiring and firing by adding this little peptide compound. It's literally, I mean, I've timed you, and I haven't taken mine this morning, so I'm going to take one now. It literally turns your brain back on. Okay, and then the other peptide that's in here is tesofensine. And tesofensine is a natural SSRI balancer in the brain and the body. It helps with mood. It helps with balance. It helps with your neurotransmitters. So balancing your neurotransmitters, keeping sugars down, eating the good, healthy fats that your brain needs to have, because that's what it lives off of, keeping the body moving. Roger Bannister won a Nobel Prize. Was it Roger Bannister or Roger Sperry? One of them ran the first 3-minute mile and the other one won a Nobel Prize. Anyway, one of the two, maybe somebody can look it up and put it in the chat for me. One of the two won a Nobel Prize in the 80s, finding that movement in the body is the number 1 nutrient for the brain. So you got to keep your brain moving. So I hope that makes sense, Vicky, on that. And she says her second question is, I've got chronic insomnia since I was 24. Is worsened as she's gotten older. I never feel drowsy at night. I've tried everything and nothing seems to help. What can help me do this? Okay. All right. This is a big one. So Vicky, write this down. This is like an insomnia biohack to the 90th power. So your brain has a circadian rhythm cycle to it, right? And we're supposed to get up with the sun in the morning. Our cortisol is supposed to be high. Certain hormones like testosterone in men and women are supposed to be high. And then as the day goes on, that's supposed to just kind of dwindle down until the sun goes down and we can get into that GABAergic state, the rest and relaxation state of the brain, to go to sleep, turn our brain off and recover. Well, because of all of these fun cell phones and the UBV lights that we get at work or at home. One of the issues is our circadian cycle gets screwed up big time. So, Vicky, let me just give you a biohack. So, try this, and I want you to try this for 21 days. I'm finishing up a guide right now that literally is a 45-day guide to reset your sleeping patterns. Once that's done, because we know how to do it, but I just need to be able to give you guys a digital download for it. So, I will work on that ASAP because it's the problem that most people have. So, first of all, what's the problem? We call it sympathetic overload. And the part of your brain that's the part that allows you to rest, relax, grow, develop, and heal, the parasympathetic nervous system, Vicky, it ain't working like it's supposed to. The other part of your brain that's the fight or flight response, it's overstimulated. And if you think about the left part of your brain as the fight or flight and the right part of your brain like the rest and relaxation, as like your arms, you've been working this left bicep out forever and the right one ain't been working. So how can it possibly help you? And it can't. So this is not just a chemical problem. This is a neurological problem. Okay. So you got to reset your body. Now, what I'm telling you is one of the best things you can start with is go do our 45 easy reset challenge. It's truly seven simple, powerful steps over 45 powerful, amazing days. I mean, it's so easy to do this. So I would go to biolumos.com and go do the 45 easy reset. Just follow it to the T and see if that by itself helps you. Because in most cases it will. And by the way, in the sleep guide, the insomnia guide I'm going to put out, it's going to have that 45 reset in it. So you can go do that. It's a free resource I've given you. But one of the other big things that we got to do is we got to start changing the input of the UBV rays in your eyes. So go do this for the next 21 days. When the sun gets up, you get up. Set an alarm. Okay. When the sun gets up, you get up. Okay. And either watch the sunrise or get out in the sunshine within the first 30 to 60 minutes of that sun being out without any glasses on. And if you can, without a shirt on, because the better exposure to your skin, the better the morning sun rays are really, really healthy for our body. Really healthy for our body. That's going to give you the UVB that you need because we're electrical beings, guys. We actually live more off of frequencies and vibration than we do off of chemicals. And chemicals are even frequency and vibration anyway, but that's another conversation. So get up in the morning with the sun. And then in the morning, I want you to take 10,000 units of vitamin D3. And I want you to take 500 milligrams of magnesium glycinate. And I want you to take 250 milligrams at first of B3 niacin. Okay. You're going to flush. I want you to flush. If you can handle 250 milligrams, go to 500. Okay. Go to the point where your body starts to flush a little bit. Do it in the morning. Okay. And then I want you to do something to get your body mineralized in the morning. So go get a cup of water. Go get the Detox Pro Plus formula. Okay. Get a cup of water, put a squeeze of lemon or lime in it, get a pinch of organic sea salt, like a clean sea salt, whether it's a Baja Gold or an Icelandic flake, something clean. Put a pinch of that in the water, 2 dropperfuls of this, stir it up and drink it down. That'll help pull toxins out, but it'll give you the minerals that your body needs to spark ATP energy production in the day. One more thing I'm going to have you do. I want you to start signaling your body to shifting from sugar to fat as a burn. Take 3 of the cell signal in the morning. I know it seems like a lot, but I got to break up this pattern you've had going on for the past couple decades. And then what I want you to do is as your day goes on, try to get outside, get some real fresh air, keep your body moving throughout the day. And then 2 hours before bedtime, there's a couple things I want you to do. I want you to either turn off your devices, your MacBooks, your laptops, your phones, etc., or get some blue blocker glasses with the red tints to block the UVB rays in the evening time. Because if your brain circadian cycle is normally supposed to go down in the evening and you're stimulating it with the UVB rays to the eyeballs, your brain's sending a signal to the pituitary saying, hey man, we're awake. I need you to go ahead and get us going, produce some adrenaline. Let's get rocking here. Well, that's going to screw you up. So that's one thing I would do. And then shifting your diet. Get into a ketogenic food plan. Listen, eating sugars and carbohydrates, especially simple carbohydrates, stimulate the brain and adrenals and the nervous system. We need to calm that down. So eating more good fats and more protein can calm down that nervous system. And having, especially for your dinner meal, having something savory, right? Salty and savory, some meat protein, some, good, healthy cooked fats, things of that nature, powerful for sleeping. Now, there's a really good peptide blend that we recommend as well to help with sleeping. But Vicky, I want you to try that and then report back to us. There's so many other things we can do, but man, once that insomnia and sleeping guide is ready, make sure you are on the lookout for that, because people need that. They need that more now than ever. Because if you're not sleeping well, man, you're not healing. And by the way, Vic, I don't know if you know this, but there's a genetic test that you can do. We run sorry, it's on this side. We run our Biolimitless DNA discovery test that actually measures your genetics, and it tells you what time of the day is better for you to exercise, what time of the day is better for you to be more productive, so that you can shift your daily routine based off of your own biological clock, and that really does make a big difference. So give me a thumbs up if that helps and makes sense. Great question. All right, guys, keep going. We're gonna keep rocking and rolling here for probably another 40 minutes or so. Okay, Ralph just asked a question. Ralph says, "Hey, Dr. Eric, what can we do about gout?" So how many of you suffer from gout or know people that suffer from gout? More people actually suffer from this than they even know, because most people assume, and we know what assuming does, right? It makes an ass out of you and me, that gout is only like in your big toe or in your thumb whenever they swell up and they get inflamed from eating too much meat, too much cheese, or too much red wine. Let me explain what this is. Silent gout can also be a problem. Silent gout can cause heartburn, reflux. Silent gout can also cause inflammation in the cardiovascular area that literally could be a silent killer that you don't even know is in there. Silent gout can also become screaming gout when it leads to fibromyalgia if the uric acid crystals get inside your muscles. So here's what it is. This is really, really simple. When you eat, there's three basic types of foods, right? Fats, carbs, and proteins. When we eat protein and we break down protein, it breaks down into a couple things: collagen, amino acids, but then also uric acid is a byproduct of it. Well, uric acid crystals, if you look at it underneath a microscope, look like little bitty pieces of glass. And so if we have these big old pieces of glass that are not broken down, if uric acid doesn't break down into its microscopic level, it can't pass through the kidneys. We can't urinate it out. We can't get it out of the system like it's supposed to. So here's what you need to understand. Number one, you're having problem digesting proteins and fats, which is a big issue, because if you have gout, you probably have hormone imbalances. You probably have weight issues. You probably have energy issues, okay? Because if you're not breaking down and using protein properly, you're going to have excess gout in your system, excess uric acid. So one of the immediate things you can do to knock down the pain is go get something called wild cherry extract. So like tart cherry or wild cherry extract. Taking some of that a few times a day knocks the pain down. But that's like fixing it after the problem existed. We want to fix it so it doesn't happen again. So what you need to do, number one, is you need to check your stomach acid. So Ralph, if you have gout, it could be very much because you don't produce enough stomach acid. Stomach acid is what initiates HCl in your body, initiates the production of these enzymes, primarily the enzyme called protease that breaks down protein, that then allows that protein to break down uric acid crystals so that they don't cause gout. So number one, do this test. Get some organic baking soda. Take about a teaspoon, full spoonful of it, put it into a 4 to 6 ounce glass of water and slug it. Drink it down fast. And then set a timer and wait 3 minutes, okay? You should belch or burp within 3 minutes of taking that baking soda, or guess what? You do not have enough stomach acid. That's problem number one, okay? If that's the case, then you need to start taking some betaine HCl, and start having 1 or 2 capsules of betaine HCl with each meal, especially your protein meals, okay? Then what you need to be doing is getting some apple cider vinegar. And I like organic apple cider vinegar, 1 to 2 teaspoons of that in some water or juice, typically water. Drink that down. That's also good. You can do that first thing in the morning for stomach acid production. At nighttime, take a half a teaspoon of organic baking soda, put it in water and drink it down. That also will help get the stomach acids producing. So in the morning that your body's working better. That's kind of the first line of defense. Number two, go and get yourself a plant-based multi-enzyme. It has to have an enzyme called protease in it. And what you need to do is take 1 to 2 of those protease enzymes, plant-based. They have to be plant-based. It's so important that they're plant-based. And so if you'll take 1 or 2 of those with each meal as well, that'll allow you to break down your protein even better. And then, brother, Ralph, chew your food, man. Chew that protein, 10, 15, 20 times before you swallow it down. That'll also help you with that. Okay. That'll also help you with that a ton. So gout is a big deal. Changing your diet a little bit could be important. Understanding your genetics, seeing if you have issues. There are genetic pathways that could be not firing like they're supposed to. You see, when the genes in the body, the sequences don't fire, it's not creating a code to make an enzyme. And all we have to do is find out that that code's broken and then supplement that enzyme. And 9 out of 10 times that overcomes that problem. So that's why genetic profiling is so powerful. So that's what you do for gout. Ralph, give me a thumbs up if that makes sense as well. And that will really help you a tremendous amount. So Ralph, there's your question there. Guys, remember, we're doing Ask Me Anything with Dr. Eric Naputi. If you guys enjoy this, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share this with other folks. Knowledge is power, right? But wisdom is taking that knowledge and applying it to your life. And I want to give you common sense directions of what to do. Okay, I've got another question. This was at the Ask Dr. Eric. So if you guys have questions, go to biolimitless.com. You can put them up at the top. There's a little at the chat bar. It says ask, and you can ask your question there, or you can put them in the chats here on social media or at biolimitless.com/live. This one is from Jeannie. Jeannie asked about Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Do I use the same protocol that you're talking about? Oh, Jeannie, you must be referring to the thyroid manual that we have out. You guys, let me tell you something. I've been a functional medicine practitioner for 20 years now, and I've literally helped hundreds of thousands of patients. I don't think you understand. Like, I don't stop, like nonstop. I'm helping people. My wife and children will tell you, like, when we're at the volleyball games or baseball games or traveling, I'm present with my family to be with my family, but we're always still helping people. We just serve. This is what we do. So what I did was I put together a guideline for all of you to help you figure out how to fix your thyroid. Because, man, I'm just telling you right now, your doctors I don't know why anybody would go to a general practitioner. I don't know why they would go to a general practitioner, to be honest with you. But I don't know why you would go there for thyroid help. And even an endocrinologist, a lot of times they're going to go after it from a medication standpoint, and it doesn't need to be. Okay. Sometimes it does, especially when the thyroid is way out of whack. And then Hashimoto's is an autoimmune component, Jeannie. So let's talk through that. So I put together a 53-page do-it-yourself thyroid manual. And you guys can go to biolimitless.com, or I'm sure we could put it in the link below here. But it's our thyroid manual that we put together. It's literally 53 pages of exactly what to do. I literally train my doctors across the globe I work with on this is how you treat the thyroid. This is what's wrong. This is the testing that needs to be done. And these are the procedures that you need to do. Fixing the thyroid truly, 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 I tell you, is one of the simplest things to do, because the thyroid is very rarely the cause of the problem. Now, Jeannie, I'm telling you, every single time with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, the thyroid is hardly ever the cause of the problem. Okay. So remember, the liver and the gut are the two biggest issues we find with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. The first thing that I would tell you to do, Jeannie, is test, not guess. So obviously you've already ran the blood test. You know that you've done a TSH, a T3, a T4, a reverse T3, a reverse T4, a TBO test. I mean, all the things, ferritin, a vitamin D, and a hormone panel, your sex hormones. Those are important to run, because that's where we're going to be seeing the holes in the bucket to fix. The genetic profile is important, because I will tell you that I'm shocked when I do not find methylation issues with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Okay. MTHFR is usually the genetic trigger. When you have MTHFR, your genes are not coding a certain enzyme that screws up your methylation system. And when your methylation system gets screwed up, like detox gets screwed up, inflammation goes high, our body gets in a mess, and we get into a state of chronic inflammation. And then our immune system basically goes to war with everything. And so the way I explain autoimmune issues to my patients, Jeannie, is think about this. We're all at war. Everybody is at war, and we all have our ammunitions and our weapons and etc. And somebody turns the lights off. And so now everybody starts shooting everybody. We go after the enemies, we go after the friendlies. That's what's happening in your body right now. So I'm telling you, step number one with thyroiditis, once you test, not guess, is understand methylation with you. Man, getting people who have thyroiditis off of gluten, off of glyphosate foods, and off of dairy has been a game changer. That by itself is a game changer. Gluten competes with the thyroid protein. So just understand that. That's number one, food wise. So what do you eat? Put them on a ketogenic diet. Okay. Go grab that thyroid manual, and you can literally see everything about it, including what a thyroid body type looks like and how you should be eating for that. Because people who have Hashimoto's and other thyroid issues have a difficult time keeping their lipids and their fat where they want it to be in their body. So I always put my thyroiditis patients on Cell Signal because of the methylation component. You guys see how we formulated these products for like what everybody's got going on? Like, this is not just here, take this vitamin and it's going to help you with this. No, it's take this system. This is a nutraceutical system. I call these technologies. Take this technology to help open up the physiological pathways that are jacked up. And with thyroiditis, Hashimoto's, methylation is almost always there. Like, I'm shocked when it's not. So using methylated B12, using Deplin, which in my opinion, is exactly what every person should be using if they have MTHFR defects, not folinic acid or leucovorin. But I get it. Some of you over methylate. That's because you don't have some of the other, like the glycine and the phosphatidylserine and the other peptides to help your body not over methylate. Like, I get what you're talking about. The second thing too with that is get the gut right. You got to get your gut bacteria good. So we need to put you on intermittent fasting with the ketogenic food plan. That by itself usually clears up so much. And then get on the proper probiotic. We use the Master Microbiotic formula. There's nothing better on the marketplace. Take 2 of those at nighttime, or just 2 a day. With that is fine. These are low histamine response bacteria, which is a big issue with folks. And that is huge. And then the other big thing, because you have so much trouble when you have methylation issues with detoxification, we got to open up the pathways. Well, listen, Cell Signal is one way to open up the pathways. From a chemical standpoint, once the pathways open, you better have stuff that can grab and bind and pull out the toxins you've got, because you already have thyroiditis. Okay. The more inflammatory issues you've got, so the more toxins, the more poisons, the more heavy metals and microplastics, the more inflammation you're going to have. So pulling that stuff out is huge. So this opens the floodgates. This helps you grab and bind and pull out through the liver what you're supposed to have. And this has a high dose of Shilajit in it. So this also helps the body with phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification, which keeping the liver clean with any type of autoimmune issue is like the gold standard. So using that protocol, and then using liver detoxifying cleansing properties. So milk thistle, 1,000 milligrams a day. Huge fan of that. Drinking dandelion root tea once or twice a day. Dandelion root tea once or twice a day. Phenomenal for that. Get your body moving, okay? And detox the system. So open up the pathways with the Cell Signal, pull out the toxins with the Detox Pro Plus, rebuild the gut microbiome. That is huge for any inflammatory issue, especially thyroid. I use Master Microbiotics for that. Ketogenic food plan with intermittent fasting. I mean, there's your foundation right there that you should be doing. And then you got to give your body time to do it. You know that when your thyroid's jacked up or your liver's jacked up or your gut is jacked up, it's going to take about 12 to 18 months to regenerate that organ 100%. So you can't just say, well, I took that dang old vitamin and it didn't do anything 20 minutes later, so it must not work. I tell my patients, do not waste your time working with me on these projects unless you're going to give your body at least 90 days of a serious opportunity to change this. Okay. So that's where we start with thyroiditis. So go and get, Jeannie, go and get that thyroid protocol that we have on biolimitless.com, or maybe somebody can put it in the chat below. It's the thyroid user's guide. It's a 53-page guide. Go through that thing. That's what I literally give that to functional medicine doctors how to train their team and how to fix their problems. So I hope that helps. All right. A couple more questions, you guys. Type them in the chat if you've got them. We got about another 30 minutes, and then I got to get going. We got to get some work going, other work going. So let's see. Okay. Christy, I'm going to answer your question about cholesterol. Ooh, big, bad, scary cholesterol. Yes, it's important. And gosh, I don't want to poo-poo cholesterol because it's an indication. High cholesterol, high triglycerides are an indication that there's a stressor metabolically in the body. It doesn't tell us what it is. It just tells us that there is. So we've got to find the is. Okay. So Christy says, hey, good morning. What's the best way to lower LDL? First of all, low density lipoprotein is what LDL stands for. I was thinking of purchasing cholesterol off made by Nature Made. What are your thoughts on that? Well, is that fixing the cause of your problem, Christy? Because if it is, knock yourself out, go get it. Okay. Here's what she said. My total cholesterol is 235. I'm listening. Not worried about that at all. Like at all. Okay. HDL is a 58. So the good cholesterol, good fat, we want that to be above a 40. I like that number where it's at close to 60. That's good. Triglycerides are good. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, one thing that she did say was she's had 2 stents put in. Okay. And so the stent issue, that's when you need to be paying a little bit more attention to this. So what I would do first and foremost with you, go get a genetic profile run, because if you do a genetic test, then you can find out, and I'd run a single nucleotide polymorphism test. The one that we run measures 800,000 different SNPs, and there's a whole category of lipid genes in there. There's your APO genes. That's important. It gives your body an idea of like, how does your body handle fats, carbs, and proteins? That's important. I would with this type of a situation, I would be curious to see what your body wants to eat. Does it want more carbs? Does it want more proteins? Does it want more fats? What does it need? But I would also dig a little deeper. So Christy, when cholesterol is high, and I'm going to tell you 235 is not high. Okay. It's not at all. We're actually putting right now together, it's almost done, a cholesterol resource guide. And it's going to be a pretty thick guide like the thyroid guide. By the way, if the thyroid's messed up, that could be causing cholesterol issues. But what we want to educate you on is that we want to find out why your body's trying to produce more cholesterol. Did you know that if your hormones go low, cholesterol goes up naturally? If your vitamin D is low, cholesterol goes up naturally. Your liver produces some, 80% of that cholesterol. So, and by the way, almost every cell in your body produces cholesterol as well. So it's not just a diet thing. It's a stress thing. If cortisol levels go high, which is a stress response, cholesterol goes high. So if you just run a blood test and I see a snapshot, because that's all blood really is, it's a snapshot in time of where we're at right now. And you say, hey, 230 is my cholesterol, which by the way, there's a lot of things that could be done to lower LDL. Usually if LDL goes up, it's a sign of inflammation in the body and the body's toxic. Go do this, Christy, go to our website, go do the 45 Easy Reset Challenge, get the Master Microbiotics, and use the detox formula. In fact, I'll give you a challenge. I would love if you would do this. And if message me if you'll take me up on this. Okay. By the way, there's a promo code going on right now still. Let me tell you this. Until the end of October, so until the 1st of November, we're giving 20% off of all the products that we're doing at BioLimitless. Okay. So if you go there and you purchase this, I'm going to show you what to go purchase, and you type in one word, launch 20, it gives you 20% off of this. This is huge. I'm trying to give you all the reasons to say yes to try this stuff. And what I would do is this. I would ask you to do it for 90 days. Okay. And you could do the code for that is launch 20x3. So launch 20x3. So it gives you 20% off for a 3-month supply, which you can get on Subscribe and Save to do. So if you'll go and you'll do the 45 Easy Reset Challenge. Okay, Christy, this is what I'd love for you to do. Go get the 45 Easy Reset Challenge, and it's free for you to get. It's on our website. Then go and purchase the Detox Pro Plus, the Cell Signal Formula, and the Master Microbiotics. That trio right there, go get that pack stack, and then apply that for the next 90 days. And then what I want you to do is go do a fasting blood test then. Go do a fasting blood test, but then also not just do your lipid profile, get a vitamin D3 test done, get a hormone test done, and get a CBC so we can see your liver function. And then if you want to, in 90 days, message me or put that in the ask part where we answer questions, I'll bet you that your levels have improved a ton if you follow it to the T. Man, I would love you to do that. LDL being high typically is a sign of inflammation and toxicities in the body. So go ahead and rock and roll on that. All right. So another question. Carrie says, what's the best drink to rehydrate first thing in the morning? Oh man, that's easy. Look, what we do this for a reason. Like, there's a method to the madness of everything that I do, right? There's a reason why on the Detox Pro Plus formula, we put something on there called BioLimitless Living Water. Can you see that? Take a screenshot of this or write this down. So first thing in the morning, get 8 ounces of water. I like water that you've got filtered. So my filtration system pulls out the fluoride and the chlorine out of the water and it hydrolyzes it. I'm a big fan of hydrogen water, okay? But I'm an even bigger fan of mineral water. So get yourself 8 ounces of filtered water and then put 2 droppers of the Detox Pro Plus in there. That'll start your day off with a detoxification process. That'll help alkaline your body. That'll help get the minerals in your body that it needs to jumpstart the electricity for the day. And then use a squeeze of lemon or key lime. Those are very, very powerful alkalizers in the body. And put like a quarter of a teaspoon of organic sea salt in that. Stir that up, drink it down. That is like the best way to rehydrate your body. It's got all your minerals in it. Folks, did you know that the original formula for Gatorade was water, sea salt, and a squeeze of lemon juice? That's what it was. Or maybe it was lime juice. And now it's got all this sugar in it, and that sugar does not allow you to absorb certain minerals. So, Carrie, that's what I would encourage you to do as well. Okay. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. All right. Ann says, by the way, if you guys have questions, type them in the chat below. I've got about 30 more minutes and then I gotta go see patients today. So Ann says, hey, I see a naturopath. Love naturopaths, part of one of my degrees. She totally believes in supplements. She does muscle testing. And then when I suggest supplements, what are your thoughts on this? Okay, great question, Ann. Okay, so what your practitioner is doing, it's called multiple things. I learned it as applied kinesiology, and I will tell you the science and studies have proven that manual muscle testing is legit as long as the practitioner knows what they're doing. They've actually hooked people up. The International College of Applied Kinesiology, which I belong to, I have a fellowship in applied kinesiology, and we can actually use muscle testing and other things to find out how the body's responding to nutrition. Some people call it nutritional response testing. You can use heart rate variability test with it. You can use EKGs as well, but the manual muscle test is phenomenal. You just have to have a skilled practitioner that knows what they're doing. So, and that's absolutely a legit thing that people can do, a legit thing. So kudos, right on. Have her test get some of the products that we've got, man. The Cell Signal, and sometime at another Ask Dr. Eric Anything, I'll go through kind of some muscle testing sequences for this, because you can actually teach yourself to do this as well. But that's for another day. Okay, this is Jay. Jay wrote in a question. Jay says, hey, my mom has dementia and it's getting worse. Okay, she's confused, withdrawn. She's having a hard time taking care of herself. There's zero help from her GP. They told us they could try certain medications, but it just slows the progress of the disease, doesn't fix it. Is there anything that she can do? I need to get my mom back, and I just don't want her in a nursing home. So, Jay, first of all, God bless you. And I'm just going to tell you guys, healthcare has rapidly changed over the last 18 months. You know, the things that we discussed over the last 20 years that we were told that we were quacks and charlatans and, you know, fake doctors for over the last 20 years is now coming to the mainstream. You know, now oncologists are saying, don't do a biopsy because it can actually cause, when you poke that tumor, it can cause the cancer cells to leach out all over the body. Well, they called us quacks for that years ago. And then they're saying things like, well, you know what? Beta blockers aren't good for you. Now doctors are agreeing with that. And the American Cardiology Association is no longer recommending beta blockers in the manner they did before. high blood pressure medication, cholesterol. I mean, all the things that they've gotten wrong that we've been right about. COVID, don't get me started on that. I got 508 billion things to talk about COVID. If you know, you know, by the way. So, Jane, let's talk about your mom and the brain. So, there's a lot of work that's being done right now to detect early the signs of dementia and Alzheimer's. The same thing's true with early treatment, and then prevention is the biggest thing. And we know that lifestyle is the biggest kicker of it. And there are genetic predispositions for people that could have things like Alzheimer's, dementia, and other neurodegenerative issues. That's why we recommend doing the Biolimitless DNA Discovery Wellness Test Kit, because once you know, then you know what to do. Now, as far as how do we work to get this brain back, it's going to be a lot of work and it's worth it, but you need to do it. So let's talk about it from three aspects. So number one, we got to test, not guess. We got to find out what's out of balance. So from a physical standpoint, yes, there's a physical component to the body. If your body isn't structurally strong, if you don't have a core strength, if your muscles aren't working like they're supposed to, if you're not moving your body regularly, if your spine, especially the upper part of your neck, is out of alignment, then the communication is out of alignment. Your vagus nerve is going to be off. Your sympathetic nervous system is going to be in fight or flight, and your body's going to be in a state of confusion. It's too busy dealing with the battles to try to, like the new battles that are coming, to try to heal the old injuries that it's had. So you got to get the body physically balanced. We got to get these people moving. Well, they're in a wheelchair. Okay, well, can they move their fingers? Can they move their toes? Can they breathe? Can they blink? The more they move, the better. Or can they think about moving? Because certain new research has shown that even if you visualize in your mind's eye your legs moving, your arms moving, your head moving, your body moving, your organs working better, your brain rewiring and firing, your brain and body cannot delineate between, are you visualizing it or is it really happening? So that's a powerful tool. That's a powerful tool, number one. Number two, we got to get the chemistry right, okay? So this is a big one. You got to get insulin under control, because I'm telling you, insulin spikes, blood sugar spikes, glucose issues are going to be a major problem, okay? So what does that mean? We need to get them on a ketogenic food plan, lots of good fat. The brain is made up primarily of good, healthy fat. That's why most people's cholesterol levels go up as we age, because the brain starts to lose its gray matter and we start making more cholesterol to try to fix it. And then somebody goes, well, we should probably take a statin and stop that cholesterol medication. That cholesterol from being produced. I'm going to tell you right now, you guys, many of you know this. We have a functional neuro rehab component to what we do in all of our practices. And I'm just telling you, if we have a patient who's on a statin medication, it's almost impossible to reverse Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, or other neurological imbalances. Now, you want to work with the physician before you stop those medications, but I'm just telling you, it's virtually impossible. Okay, virtually impossible. Because how can you fix the brain if you're shutting off the food supply to it? How can I put muscle on in the gym if I'm not eating enough protein to do that? If you don't have the raw materials, the body can't heal. So controlling the blood sugars and insulins with a food plan and with certain natural products, like, first of all, this has the BHB in it. Put her on cell signal that has BHB in it 3 a.m. and 3 midday. That gives her body the chance to start getting into ketosis. The ketones are the key to heal the body and the brain. We've got to get her in ketosis, okay? And carbs jack that up. So that's what I would do with from a food plan standpoint. I would also start doing some nootropic stimulation. I want to get that brain to fire and rewire. There's a formula that I use for all my neurocognitive patients. It's a tripeptide blend that has, it's called Neuro Reboot. It has BPC 157. It has dihexa and tesofensin. This formula literally rewires and fires the brain. Now, it's going to take a good 90 days for your body to at least start that process. And it may take a good 12 months for that process to continue to refire and rewire. It took your body decades to get this screwed up. It's going to take some time to fix that. All right. So that's a real big thing that I would be doing with your mother. And then the other big things, look at her thyroid function. Okay. We find oftentimes the correlation between thyroid short circuiting and brain rewiring issues. So Look at TSH, look at T4, look at T3, reverse T3, look at the antibodies, look at vitamin D. If vitamin D is low, that needs to be brought up to between an 80 and a 100. Look at ferritin. If that ferritin is below a 100, that needs to be brought up. And usually we can bring that up with beef liver extract taken orally. And then get those methylated B vitamins in the body. That's a big deal. The cell signal will help with that. Also, we know that a lot of times neurocognitive, neurodegenerative issues, there's heavy metals, microplastics, and toxicities that get into the brain, glyphosates and pesticides and larvicides and herbicides. Putting them into ketosis helps the body truly deal with that. Like, that's how your body fixes it. You know, the Detox Pro Plus is amazing. It's amazing to do that. We've clinically proven that it pulls those things out of the body, but we got to use a ketogenic lifestyle and intermittent fasting. That's really the body's physiological process to detox and clean. If you'll do that with this together, that would be a huge opportunity for you, Jay, for you and your mother. And then additionally to that, make sure her blood levels are balanced and check her cortisol levels. If you're seeing high spikes and ups and downs in cortisol, that could be a big issue. Check her fuel. Make sure she's getting between 100 and 120 grams a day of protein. And then I'm going to let you guys in on another little secret, especially for older women. Older men could be the same way, but check her for a urinary tract infection. Listen, E. coli easily gets into the vaginal canal, and that E. coli can cross the blood-brain barrier, and that can literally cause people to have delirium, and that could cause pseudo symptoms of Alzheimer's, dementia, neurodegenerative decline. Literally a urinary tract infection or chronic urinary tract infections can lead to that. That's why we also talk about using, for any type of a brain issue, the Master Microbiotics gut formula, and having fermented food in your diet, eating some good kefir. I'm a huge fan of kefir, huge fan of fermented vegetables, huge fan of kombucha, kimchi, all those kinds of things. But using that with the Master Microbiotics rebuilds the gut microbiome and allows the brain to start working like it's supposed to. So those are really the big things that I would do. And also, gosh, you know what? I would also really look into making sure that we're doing some vagus nerve exercises to stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system. So you can go on YouTube vagus nerve exercises. And there's a lot of devices you could put on. Like, we in our offices put a DC electrical current on the vagus nerve that lives right here. We have our patients vibrate for about 15 minutes on standing vibration while they're doing the vagus nerve stimulation. And we find amazing results with that. So listen, Jay, don't give up. I know you're not. Don't give up on mama. She ain't going to give up on you, but you got to put in the work. And I'm telling you, you're right. Conventional medicine does not have an answer for you. So you've got to start taking unconventional, common sense solutions for these unfortunately common problems that people have. So I hope that, give me a thumbs up if that helps answer your question. Let me see if I can answer one or two more. Okay. Katie just asked a question. Katie Weber says, how many bottles of cell signal bottles per year for those who have MTHFR, MMR, genetic issues? And does mild sleep apnea take neuro reboot? Okay. So here's what I'm going to tell you about the cell signal. If you have MTHFR, okay, if you have any methylation issues, you need to take this for the rest of your life. It's made for that, because you will never make that enzyme again. You'll never going to code those enzymes properly. So I will supplement cell signal the rest of my life. I made this formula out of frustration for myself, my family, who were all MTHFR, my patients, who 75% of them are all MTHFR. Plus, I had to put a couple extra things in here because methylation is not the only big issue people have. They also have issues with burning sugar as fuel versus fats and ketones. So this helps with that. Plus, it helps with focus, concentration, energy, etc. So this is a month's supply, and I'm going to get one of these once a month the rest of my life. So like 12 bottles a year is what I'll use. And then as far as people who have sleep apnea, I actually have already put together a sleep apnea guide. There are exercises that you can do to help with sleep apnea. There are things like mouth taping to learn to breathe through the nose. There are exercises for the tongue that you can do. If you can do that little clicky thing like that, keep that tongue at the roof of your mouth and try to open, that'll strengthen your jaw muscles. And losing some weight, if your neck is bigger than 16 inches in circumference around, then you got a high risk of having sleep apnea. So the cell reset is amazing for helping people get their brain to wake up, especially the next day in the morning. But sleep apnea is low oxygen, and that's a big freaking problem. I just did a video on this the other day, and we've got a little guide on things you can do for sleep apnea. I'll make sure you guys get that as well. Great question, Katie. Always good to see you. Okay, I got about 15 minutes. Okay, let's see here. Let me answer one from here. Okay, Katie, I'll answer this one. Can you talk about oral health, teeth? Okay, this is cool. So using xylitol, activated charcoal, perfect. Can you talk with whole house water? Okay, so let's talk about this. All right. First of all, oral health. Number one, first thing, I just did a video on this the other day. It's on our Facebook page. First thing in the morning when you get up, you should scrape your tongue in the morning, and you stick your tongue out. If it's got, fur on it, film on it, if it's got a white little mucus on it, that's a biofilm. If you have a biofilm on your tongue, that's a problem. That's a sign of bacteria overgrowth. That's a sign of leaky gut. That's a sign of it's a big issue in the problem. And those biofilms can be a sign of primitive pathogens and infections in your body. So number one, scraping that off. Now, what I do is I get baking soda, hydrogen peroxide, and I get my Detox Pro Plus. So here's what I do in the morning. I take a little bit of the Detox Pro Plus, put a couple drops on my tongue, okay? And then I just move it around the roof of my mouth, put it on my teeth like that, and you'll feel like the Shilajit in it. You'll feel like the little gristly from the minerals in it. So then I take my toothbrush. I just happen to have one right here. My son just bought this for me. It's boar toothbrush, and this is like, I don't know, bamboo or something. So anyway, then I dip my toothbrush into the baking soda, organic baking soda, and then I brush my teeth with it. And then scrape my tongue with it, okay? And that helps remineralize my teeth. That'll help get any bugs and bacteria and dental caries, which are the cause of cavities. It'll make my teeth whiter. Using that Detox Pro Plus, the activated charcoal in there, whitens the teeth, gets rid of funguses and bacteria in the mouth. Scraping that tongue is such a powerful thing to do. And then I typically will grab some hydrogen peroxide, and I'll do a little bit of a rinse with hydrogen peroxide, and then I go about my day. Now, there are other things that I use to help with my oral mucosa. Making sure that your gut microbiome is perfect is huge, because taking oral supplements of bacteria, that then translates up into your mouth, your eyes, your nose, your ears, your rectum, ladies, in your vaginal canal, everything. If you don't have those bacteria proper, you're going to have problems. So having the right gut bacteria prevents your teeth from decaying and prevents cavities and all those things as well. So that's a really great question, Katie, to help with that. And there's a whole thing that I did on oral health that's on our social media site and on BioLimits, and I'll do more with that as well. So great question. Let's see. I got about 10 minutes. Let's see if I can find an interesting one here. David says, hey, what's your perspective on how childhood vaccines might affect immune or neurological development later in life? What vaccines are necessary versus ones we can skip, and why do vaccines cause issues? Thanks for what you do. Okay, well, that's a loaded question that I'm going to take really one by one. So what's my perspective on how childhood vaccines might affect immune or neurological development later in life? Well, here's what I've seen, and here's what we do know. That some individuals have neurological and inflammatory responses to these vaccines. Actually, let me re-say that. Everyone has neurological and immunological responses to these vaccines. Some people have them so bad that it puts them in a tailspin of dysautonomia, which is an imbalanced immune system, which is basically your body's attacking itself. And then when that happens, like, it raises the stress level in the body. Well, now your body is at a constant high inflammation and a constant high immune response. And now any stressor, physical, chemical, or emotional stressors from life, toxins, deficiencies, injuries, stresses are going to raise that bar even more. And when that bar goes up, now they're going to be an autoimmune attack. It's going to attack the gut, attack the brain, attack neurological development. And the younger you are, the earlier you are in your neurological development. And we know that if certain milestones aren't hit when you're young, like there's certain milestones that are supposed to happen within the first couple of weeks of birth, and then the first couple months of life, and the first couple of years of life. If those milestones are not fully integrated into the body, like certain primitive reflexes, like a spinal galant reflex or a startle reflex, or these things that are supposed to integrate into the body, then we have problems later on in life. Like for example, if your Moro reflex, like you ever have a baby that's sleeping and you go into the room and the baby startles like that, but they don't wake up. That's supposed to integrate that reflex, that sympathetic overload reflex is supposed to integrate into your body when you're really, really young, like within the first couple months of life. If it doesn't, because of neurological or immune system hyperstimulation, then you get adults and kids that every time you say something, they go, "Oh," like that. And they're stuck in sympathetic overload. And when they're stuck in sympathetic overload all the time, they cannot properly rest, relax, grow, develop, make hormones, heal their body, and function. And digestion gets screwed up, and so does immune function. So, David, it most definitely can wreak havoc in individuals. It's a ticking time bomb because they don't know which ones. We actually now are uncovering the fact that there are genetic predispositions for individuals who can have this. We know that it's higher incident and risk in males for certain reasons because of the Y chromosome. We know that certain races, like black boys, have a higher risk of certain issues because of the way their genes are put together or the way their body is. And so if you know these things, that's why there's now this new concept called preconception genetic testing, where a mother and a father get their genes tested to see their health so that they have a better idea of how to raise their offspring. Like, it's one of the most common sense things that you could possibly be doing, because if you have methylation issues, then you know that there's certain prenatal vitamins that you better not be taking, because if there's folate in that stuff, that's kryptonite for you and your baby. If there's certain genetic imbalances for detoxification pathways or certain foods that are more beneficial than others, that will determine, like, if you can't breastfeed, what formula is best for that baby to have. Like, it's so important, David. And then, what vaccines are necessary. I'm gonna leave that decision completely up to you and your family to discuss it with your doctors, because that's not my place with that. I'm just going to tell you the ones that you feel are necessary are, and the ones that you feel are not necessary are not necessary. It's your decision. It's your choice on all of that. Which ones can you skip? Again, that's up to you. And why do vaccines cause these issues? It's because again, when you have genetic imbalances in your body, and 75% of the global population has some type of methylation dysfunction, period. Okay. And the reason why that number, the medical world says it's 40, is because they're not testing at the volume and level that we are. We see it in 75% of the people we work with, period, across the board. Okay. And if your genetics are off, your genes are not coding the enzymes proper. Enzymes are what move processes in the body. Enzymes and peptides are worker bees. Okay. The vitamins, minerals, fats, carbs, and proteins are your raw materials. Okay. Those enzymes that aren't processing, that's your problem. You need enzymes to detoxify. If it ain't working, you can't. That backs up and that causes inflammation, and it shuts off your chemistry. It turns into problems, symptoms, and disease. If you got genes that aren't making enzymes to help with cholesterol process in the body, you're going to have issues with that. I mean, there literally are genes that look at for everything, even physical stress in the body, risk for brain issues, risk for knee problems, ankle issues, back issues, warrior versus warrior. There's so many things that you can tell. And that's what I want to be leaning into more with you guys. So we're going to start doing a lot more training on genetics, helping you guys understand genetic profiles, and so much more. I just want to give you guys a quick reminder before I sign off. Give me a thumbs up if this has been beneficial. I'm going to be doing this. Don't forget, we're going to be doing this every Friday morning, 8 a.m. Central Time, and then every every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Central Time. So have your questions ready to go, or go to biolimitless.com. And at the top of Biolimitless, you'll see where it says ask. You can go there and type in your questions, and I'll either do a video or answer them live here. So remember also, we've got our Launch 20 promo going until the 1st of November. So anytime you guys go to biolimitless.com to get any of the products or testing we have, use Launch 20. It's one word, Launch 20. That gives you 20% off of your products. And then you could also, if you subscribe and save, which everybody does, you can actually use Launch 20X3. That's Launch 20X3. Maybe somebody can type it below, and you'll get a discount on your subscribe and save for 3 months. That's a huge, huge deal. I'm trying to give you all the reasons to say yes to do this. Okay. And by the way, while you're here, I want to make sure that you guys like, subscribe, and follow all of our channels. I think that's super important. Knowledge is power, but wisdom is applying that knowledge to your life. I want to help educate you. I want to help inspire and motivate you. I want to help give you some tools to help you and your family with some common sense problems and some common sense solutions. So make sure you guys do that. Make sure you guys turn your notifications on so you don't miss any of our daily updates. We're putting a lot of content out, answering a lot of your questions, because we're here to serve. And that's what this is about. The more you know, the better you can help yourself. And then I also want to ask a small favor. If you guys, if what I'm saying resonates with you, just share it and forward it. You guys, people need to know what's going on. When we start talking about BioLimitless and what we're doing and the common sense approach to our self-care operating system, people say, well, I want to do that. This is the simplest thing that we can do. So please share that with someone. It'd be a great positive first step. And last but not least, I've noticed that a lot of you guys are watching all of our videos. You guys haven't hit the follow button. Make sure you guys do that and tune in, because remember, and turn those notifications on so that whenever I go live, you can hear it. So many of you guys haven't seen me in months, years, or whoever knows how long, and you're so excited to see us now. So remember, again, I'm going to be Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Central, and Fridays, 8 a.m. Central. Let's grow this community together, guys. Listen, knowledge is power, but wisdom is taking that knowledge and applying it to your life. Guys, until we meet again, I'm Dr. Eric Naputi. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless this beautiful, beautiful world. Stay smart out there and be well, because you are. Have an amazing day. Bye, guys.